Hello, I'm the Progressive Disciple, and I'm taking a journey through the Bible, and I'm inviting you to join me. Today, we are covering the book of Zephaniah. Zephaniah was alive during the reign of King Josiah and wrote the book shortly before Josiah did his famous reforms. He was a contemporary of Jeremiah and Nahum. In Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 9 through 7, he says, "Be silent before the sovereign Lord, for the day of the Lord is near. The Lord has prepared a sacrifice. He has consecrated those he has invited. On the day of the Lord's sacrifice, I will punish the officials and the king's sons and all those clad in foreign clothes. On that day, I will punish all who avoid stepping on the threshold, who fill the temple of their gods with violence and deceit." In Zephaniah chapter 1, verses 14 through 16, he said, "The great day of the Lord is near, near and coming quickly. The cry on the day of the Lord is bitter. The mighty warrior shouts his battle cry. That day will be a day of wrath, a day of distress and anguish, a day of trouble and ruin, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and blackness, a day of the trumpet and battle cries against the fortified cities and against the corner towns." The day of the Lord, in my opinion, is a day when radical change occurs very quickly throughout the land. This occurred in Jerusalem when Babylon attacked and sacked the city. But the day of the Lord also happens in our time. It happened in the United States during the Civil War. The injustice we had with slavery caused this nation to rise up, some to try to separate to keep their way of life, but a lot of people had to suffer to maintain the unity of this nation. Some other examples is the fall of Germany. Germany was a nation who was unjust toward the Jews in the land, and they had their own day of the Lord. In my lifetime, I think of the fall of the Soviet Union. Their system was not working, and it very quickly fell apart in a very short amount of time. Nations have a tendency of watching out for their own interests, but nations also must be just to their own citizens and to the other nations in which they exist with. If you are not just with yourself and your neighbors, you hearken for a day of change. The day of the Lord will come. In Zephaniah chapter 2, verses 4 through 5, he says, "Gaza will be abandoned, and Ashkelon left in ruins. At midday, Asdod will be emptied, and Ekron uprooted. Woe to you who live by the sea, you Ketharite people. The word of the Lord is against you. Canaan, land of Philistines, he said, I will destroy you, and none will be left." This passage jumped out at me because of the current war that Israel is having with Gaza. It is a time when injustices on both sides are being rooted out in a violent war. So how do you live through the day of the Lord? I don't know if I have an answer for this. At times, it comes to sheer survival. It is my hope that God can steer us through such times. My advice is to stay true to yourself and be ever vigilant. In Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 9, he writes, "Then I will purify the lips of the people, that all of them may call on the name of the Lord and serve him shoulder to shoulder." In Zephaniah chapter 3, verses 14 through 17, he says, Sing, daughter Zion. Shout aloud, Israel. Be glad and rejoice with all your heart, daughter Jerusalem. The Lord has taken away your punishment. He has turned back your enemy. The Lord, the King of Israel, is with you. Never again will you fear any harm. On that day they will say to Jerusalem, do not fear, Zion. Do not let your hands hang limp. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He who takes great delight in you. In his love he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. There is hope. There is always hope. There is an old Chinese proverb that says, this too will pass. So when the day of the Lord does occur, there will be those who will survive it. It will pass, and people will go on and rebuild. And that is my thoughts of the book of Zephaniah. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. So, since this is the end of the book of Zephaniah, it is time for another lottery. So, I'm going to open my bag here. And let's see the next book that we will study. Okay. The next book that we will study is the Book of Esther. I am the Progressive Disciple, and I will see you in the next video.